call this meeting of the Raton City Commission to order on Tuesday, June 23rd, 2026 at 6 p.m. Madam Clerk, can we have a roll call, please?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Mayor Chatterley.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Honeyfield.
Here.
Commissioner Schuster. Present. Commissioner Campbell.
Here.
And Commissioner Hoger. Here.
Will you all please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'd like to welcome everyone here tonight, those online and those who are in the room. Thank you for being here. Our next regular City Commission meeting will be Tuesday, July 14th, 2026. Just a notice that all city offices will be closed Friday, July 3rd in honor of Independence Day. And we do have a proclamation tonight. I have invited people along to take pictures after we read this proclamation in honor of our 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Proclamation of the City of Raton supporting the United States semi-quincentennial. Whereas local governments are the bedrock of American democracy, providing 336 million residents with the most accountable, responsive, inclusive, ethical, and transparent government in the world. And whereas from the nation's smallest villages to its largest cities, America's local governments have been essential in transforming the United States of America into the greatest, most influential nation in the world, in world history. And whereas the City of Raton was first incorporated in 1891 and is proudly served today by Mayor Lori Chatterley, Mayor Pro Tem Mark Honeyfield, Commissioner Lindy Schuster, Commissioner Dan Campbell, and Commissioner Sally Hoger, and a municipal workforce of 121 dedicated public servants. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Lori Chatterley, Mayor of the City of Raton, New Mexico, do hereby proclaim that the City of Raton recognizes the semi-quincentennial celebration as an opportunity to educate, preserve, and innovate during this milestone anniversary. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and seal and cause the seal of the City of Raton to be affixed this 23rd day of June, 2026. God bless America. If you've come to have your picture taken with all of us, we'll come down in front. Marty, is that going to work? We can move the podium and we'll come on and take a photo. Dressed up.
Why don't you
Have everybody in the room. Do you want us to stand
I want us to stay up here.
Stay up there?
And we'll put everybody else.
Everyone else on the front? Okay, perfect. Yay.
Okay. Do we need to squat? I'm tall, so I'm going to go.
Thank you for coming and wearing your patriotic clothing.
Of course.
Scooch you in here.
Everyone's scooching this way. So we're
Give me a good side.
Is everybody ready?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you. Aiden.
By all means.
Okay. Can I do that? All right. Thank you, Madam Clerk. We will move on to item 5, committee reports from commissioners. Commissioner Hoger, we'll start with you, please.
On May 28th, I attended the Health Council meeting where we discussed our scope of work for the next year. On June the 3rd, I had another Health Council meeting where we were able to provide funding to Jeremiah Trujillo for students to attend a sports camp and also his program that he is running at the school. Also on June the 3rd, I attended the DWI planning meeting where we learned that people who require court-ordered DWI courses are now able to take them in Raton. On June the 10th, I attended the Region 8 planning for distribution of behavioral health funding, and today we received the support of Colfax County for that endeavor, but we don't know what it will look like in Raton or Colfax County yet. The report is being submitted to the state. On June 16th and 17th, I attended the Municipal Officers Leader Institute Training 2, where we focused on creating a culture of safety and working with our police department. We also learned about zoning from Brennan Williams, and we learned about handling grants in a municipality.
Thank you. Commissioner Campbell.
On June 11th, Mr. Wakefield and I actually, with Kate Ziegler, the hydrologist and geologist, up to the post-fire Swahheim fire burn scar, looking for any potential issues that might concern runoff problems. June 16th and 17th, I attended the New Mexico Municipal League Molly 2 with Commissioner Hoger training, which is some excellent information and training. June 17th, that same second day, attended the Municipal League's Resolutions Committee. The meeting included Manager Neil Sagata, and Jaden Welch did a presentation, an excellent presentation on land banking. On June 22nd, I attended the RPS meeting, which is actually approval of an engineering service RFP, where they chose an engineer, approval of the audit resolution. Raton's May demand was 3.4 megawatts. Solar provided about 1.5% of that, and was actually shocked. We've had discussed this at length. There was that Tesla on Memorial Day, the Tesla charging station used 18% of Raton's power. Is that much is going to charging electric cars, essentially 1 megawatt. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Schuster.
On June 16th, there was the Water Board meeting, which the Mayor Pro Tem will have a detailed report, I'm sure. And that evening was also a meeting that I did not attend, but I sent my husband to the tour of the hub, which is a good project that's happening. So he was able to give me a pretty good report on the things that they're trying to accomplish. We're very pleased that Grow Raton is working on that, I think. June 17th was Lodgers Tax meeting, which also unfortunately interfered with my work schedule. But we'll be talking about some Lodgers Tax issues later in our agenda tonight. This afternoon, I had a New Mexico Regulation and Licensure Board meeting, and nothing that pertained to our city was discussed.
Thank you, Commissioner. Mayor Pro Tem Honeyfield.
I attended the Water Board meeting. At that meeting, we understood that the month of May, we used 34 million gallons of water, averaged out to about 1.5 million gallons a day. We're still presently drawing on Eagle Nest Lake. The bids were opened up regarding reconditioning of the raw water tank and the Cimarron pump station tanks. That bid came in under what was expected by about $100,000. That's what we had left for that grant money. And Mr. Whitfield's going to look at seeing if we can expand that, possibly on one of the storage tanks in Raton or two of them. We also discussed the Water Trust Board letter. The department received $8.6 million in a grant, plus $2.2 million in a loan at 0% interest. That money is to be expended to rehab the existing spillway at Lake Maloya, demo the original filter plant that sits below the dam up there, as well as rehabilitate some of the outlet conduits, also redesign and address auxiliary spillway issues. Also, at that meeting, we approved a 4-year, 4% rate increase. The first one will be implemented August the 1st. Basically, it just covers increases in costs of operation. When Geneva ran the numbers initially, even with the rate increase, this next year will fall short by our income by about $5,000. Our water sales continue to be flat. Our sewer fees are down a little bit. The rate increases will just kind of keep us ahead of expenses and whatnot, so.
I would reiterate that there may be concerns that it's in anticipation of something like a data center coming, and it is not for that. This rate increase has been talked about for the last couple of years, and we basically put it off as long as we could.
I also attended the Finance Committee meeting. We discussed a contract possibly to assess lodger's tax on some of the short-term rentals. Ms. Antonucci will discuss that further. Also, lodger's tax collections continue to decline from 2022 to present. Our Kento's tax is up. Gas tax is down, but it's kind of hard to evaluate trends on that unless we were able to obtain gallons sold to measure what that trend really is. In the commission packet tonight, there's an application for the vacant position with Gail Seward as that candidate, and that's it.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. And I will reiterate, the water board, when I was on it last year, we had been talking and pushing off raising water rates for over a year, knowing that it was probably coming. So that's just the cost of goods has increased drastically. As far as my reports, on May 27th, I presented the priorities for the city of Raton and answered questions at the Legislative Education Study Committee that held their meeting at Raton High School, and I was alongside Superintendent Medina. It was very well received, and the legislators are very interested in what we're doing in Raton, and hopefully will come back and visit us. On May 28th, June 10th, and June 18th, I attended North Central New Mexico Economic Development District Executive Committee meetings. We're working on final budgets and contracts, and we've been discussing a lot of personnel matters. This Thursday is our next executive committee and board meeting, and those will be in Santa Fe, starting at 9 a.m. On the 22nd, along with Commissioner Campbell, I did attend the RPS board. In May, Unit 4 ran a couple hours, and let's see, they're hoping to install 2 new fans on Unit 4 because Guzman has called for us to run 5 hours of power every day in July and August from Unit 4. And for their demand, let's see, just skipping the stuff he already talked about. They're working on the load data for the new school, and they're talking with them. They are planning maintenance on the Burrow Canyon line, and there was a drone inspection June 15th through the 17th that was finished. They're waiting on those reports. So that line is our big transmission line that's 2/3 of it is in Colorado and heavily or tough areas. So we're looking at some forestry projects to clear some of that out. We did approve the final budget, as was said. The engineering services were awarded to Atwell and acknowledged the audit. They've had constant changes in the auditing staff, which has created some difficult processes at RPS. And so working on that. And our next meeting will be held on July 20th instead of the 27th due to some conflicts. I did attend the New Mexico Municipal League Board meeting on June 4th. We approved the league budget and reviewed the self-insurers fund budget. AJ 40 encouraged us to take advantage, even if we have to pay for it ourselves, their roof replacement program, because their staff can help us get contractors and do procurement. And they're really wanting cities to replace the roofs due to all these extreme weather events with something much stronger. We were briefed on some AI-enabled tools for land use and zoning. So they're going to be looking at using those to assist with ordinance and code updates. Most cities need some help with those things. And everyone there was very eager for more training for staff, just in general, with more appropriate or uses of AI in the workplace. We approved changes to the bylaws that reflect already what's in practice with the resolutions and policy being combined into one committee now. And exciting stuff, we approved annual conference bids for the next 5 years. So 2027 will be in Albuquerque, 2028 is in Clovis, 2029 Ruidoso, 2030 Farmington, and 2031 is Roswell. And those are all typically held end of August, early September. And our next board order meeting will be October 1st in Santa Fe. Ports to Plains didn't meet, but our next meeting is tomorrow at 2 o'clock on Zoom. And I've sat in on various meetings, including a joint meeting with representatives from our utilities, a few regarding economic development projects, and I've also met with several citizens about project ideas, and I've spoken at some different community meetings. So all in all, we're off to a busy summer. Okay. We'll move on to item 6, items from citizens present. A few ground rules for those of you who are new. First, this is an open meeting, which means everyone is here able to watch and enjoy this meeting as much as you can, whether you're here or online, but it is not a time for back and forth conversation or question and answer session. It is a business meeting of the Raton City Commission, and underneath that we do allow time for citizens present to comment, but it's not a back and forth conversation. Let's see. Our contact information, we are all willing and have all already met with a lot of different people. We're very happy to meet with you one-on-one. Our contact information is on the city website or out in the hallway. All our business cards are sitting there by the desk. Anyone wishing to speak in the meeting, from commissioners to members of the public, per rules of order, should be individually recognized by the meeting chair, which is myself. And we ask that you do not cheer, clap, jeer, or make side comments or otherwise interrupt the meeting, or you will be asked to leave, as it is our business meeting and we need to be able to communicate with each other. Comments for the commission during public comment time should be made from the podium. Let's see, and I ask that you do not use profanity or derogatory remarks if at all possible, that we keep this a very professional meeting. I very much appreciate that. And I ask that you state your name, or if you signed in, please do both for the record so that we know that you're here. And we will open the floor for items of citizen present. The time limit for each person will be 3 minutes, and we'll try to stick to 15 to 20 minutes tonight. And with that, I will open the floor to items from citizens present.
Hello. My name is Natalie Sapien Trujillo. I just want to briefly say what my background is and why I love Raton. My mother was born in Cimarron, New Mexico in 1925. My father was born in Pomona, California, the son of immigrants that came across the border in 1910 during the Mexican Revolution, but my dad was born in California. My mom and dad met at the Colfax, whatever you call it. They married, and so I have deep roots. Yes, I came from California, but I'm not one of those people. The reason why my neighbor and I are here today, because we're going to talk about feral cats. I want to make it known and understood that we don't have any, we don't hate cats, but they're ruining our property. We have a property at 1123 Whittier Street, and there's a mobile park, motor home, whatever it is, right behind our houses. I'm sorry, I turned around. But anyway, this person is feeding all of the feral cats, and I sent an email to everyone, and I appreciate everybody that responded. And I wanted to go over that because my husband works as a handyman. I know a lot of you know him, Tim Trujillo, and he doesn't have the time because he's doing his own work to work on our property. So I had been going there since last October is when our renters left, okay? So I'm doing as much as I can in the property, but I started developing a severe allergy. At the time, I didn't know what it was. I finally was able to get into Allergy Partners of New Mexico on May 29th, okay? And I sent this email to everybody. Mr. Sagata's seen it. That's what my face looked like. And so then when the allergist told me I had a 60% allergy to cats. I've never owned a cat. I don't dislike cats, but I'm not a cat person. I'm a pit bull person and a chihuahua person. So when I found out that that's what the issue was, we put 2 and 2 together, and it's this lady that lives right directly behind our property. She continues to feed the cats. She shot out our windows in the back of the house that we're trying to fix up so we can sell it. It originally was owned by my mother. okay? My mother relocated back to Raton, New Mexico in 1991 because my father was a miner at the Dawson mines. He developed Parkinson's disease related to black lung. Okay, Melissa, you're up. But anyway, cats.
I'm Melissa Colangelo, and I live at 1125 Whittier Street. I've owned the property since 2021, and I've had some issues with the lady behind me. Most recent was just Sunday night when they threatened to bash my head in because I was using some firecrackers to deter the cats from my property because they're destroying my property. They piss on my windows, they've ruined my barbecue grill, I don't know how many covers I've replaced. It's just a nuisance. I pay property taxes, I have a mortgage, I don't think I should have to sacrifice my home to these cats. I had a cat of my own, I rehomed my cat because I thought the cat maybe be drawing the other ones to my house, and that's not the case. I have 2 French bulldogs that are very contained in their own yard. I have my yard sanctioned so they don't get in some of my yard because the cats go in there. The lady tells me that the dogs keep the cats out of the yard. That is not true. I have pictures of them on my cameras. They get under everything. It's just a nuisance, you know. They laid babies on my lawnmower seat. $300 to replace the lawnmower seat. I had the lawnmower covered with a cover, and they got underneath there and laid them on there. I had to take my dog one day because I thought they were poisoning my dog. It's a nuisance. I've taken pictures of the guy jumping my neighbor's fence that clearly has no trespassing signs to feed cats that go into his yard, and they're feeding them in his yard too. It's a nuisance. I can't, I don't know what else to do. I've called the cops. I've gone to the dog catcher. I've, done the legal things. I don't know what else to do. It's frustrating. And I have pictures of everything that, that they've destroyed and stuff. So it's just, I want you guys to know that it is a huge problem here. Huge problem. And this lady the cats belong to her until they're destroying something. And then, oh, those aren't my cats. But they bring the deer. My neighbor trapped 7 skunks in the last 2 days and that was 6 babies and a mama because there's so much cat food everywhere. And it's just, it's awful. I'm not for sure what the answer is, but people need to be held accountable for their actions when it comes to that kind of stuff. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Scott, I'll ask that you follow up with this group.
We've been in contact
Okay.
with zoning has been out there. Mac has been out there. We're trying to corral some cats, and we'll
Follow up
continue
with
to work on it. Yes.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Bridget Fetterhoff. Tonight, I would like to speak about the cities and states who have stopped data centers from being built in their communities and why. At least 69 jurisdictions across the U.S. have halted or paused AI data center construction to protect local power grids and water supplies, with 4 locales enforcing permanent bans. Cities and counties are increasingly rejecting these massive resource draining facilities due to the concerns over surging utility bills, noise pollution, and water scarcity. The cities and counties with permanent bans include St. Charles, Missouri. They have passed a permanent ban on data center developments following intense community pushback against a massive proposed development known as Project Cumulus. Other jurisdictions across New Jersey, North Carolina, and Virginia also enacted permanent bans against new data centers in their zoning laws. Dozens of communities have instituted temporary moratoriums, typically pausing permits for 6 to 12 months. To review impacts on the infrastructure. Odo, Nebraska suspended permits for up to a year to study the industry's strain on local resources. Oakley, California implemented a temporary pause on data center proposals while updating local land use and zoning regulations. Various jurisdictions, including Illinois, Michigan, New York, and others, continue to enact temporary restrictions on data centers. The people of Raton, 300 plus signatures so far, are not in favor of losing power and or paying higher bills for water and electricity, or possibly losing our water and power completely due to this AI data parasite scam. Thank you, council members, for listening and hearing what your constituents actually prefer. Amen.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening, commissioners, mayor. Thank you so much for having us. I would like to read a letter that we received. On behalf of the New Mexico Tourism Department, I am pleased to inform you that the International Santa Fe Trail Balloon Rally has been selected to receive funding through the fiscal year 2027 Tourism Event Growth and Sustainability Program under the sponsorship track. Following the review process, New Mexico Tourism Department is pleased to offer an award in the amount of $5,000 for the International Santa Fe Trail Balloon Rally. We commend your organization's efforts to create meaningful visitor experiences that align with New Mexico's tourism goals and showcase the unique culture, heritage, and landscapes and make our state a premier travel destination. Best, Marisol Lucera, Tourism Development Department, and this goes to Raton Main Street. So we would like to thank the city and the commission for writing support letters as we went after this grant for the first time, and so we plan to use this $5,000 to bring more balloon pilots and balloons and make this event bigger and better. So thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Irene Purcell. I'm here to talk about data centers. Residents who move to quiet neighborhoods now find silence replaced by a low industrial drone rattling through bedroom walls at 3 a.m. That hum comes from cooling systems running around the clock to keep AI servers from overheating. Why is this hum different? Standard noise meters cannot fully capture what residents feel resonating through their walls and chests. Data center cooling, massive chillers, slow-turning fans, compressor arrays generates exactly the long wavelength noise that dips through regulatory cracks. These sounds are difficult to measure with a decibel meter. Walls don't block them. Homes actually amplify them, acting as resonance chambers for specific frequencies. Residents near AI data centers describe pressure in the chest, internal buzzing, and a sense of vibration that standard meters register as nearly nothing. A modern acoustic nightmare that is felt rather than measured. What residents near AI data centers report experience? 1, sleep disruption and chronic insomnia. 2, headaches, migraines, and ear pressure. 3, vertigo, nausea, and sensation of internal vibration. 4, elevated stress, anxiety, depression, and cognitive fatigue. And 5, a persistent feeling that the home has been industrialized. The nervous system treats uncontrollable nighttime noise as a threat. Cortisol spikes, even when sleep arrives. Micro-arousals shred those deep and REM stages, leaving people exhausted by morning. The brain continuously works to filter tonal hum, a cognitive tax that compounds over months. Gets worse. Thank you.
We have time for 1 or 2 more.
Hi, my name is John Byers. I'm here to ask to let my neighbors in this city, in Raton, know that rational things take time to be understood. I'm here to say we don't have enough information to make a decision. We don't even know what they want. They haven't got back to you. How do we pass laws when we don't know what they need? We don't know the consequences. I haven't heard anything sourced to anybody. These are my own personal opinions from reading the papers and stuff, but I'm not quoting anybody. But we should start to get down to the facts. Who made this study on sleep? Who made the fact that it's going to drink all the water up? Do we even know what they're going to do? No. And I feel sorry for I know everybody's afraid, but calm down. You haven't ruined anything. You haven't done anything yet. You allow them to come in till they give you what they think is going to happen. I'd like to have that study. I'm hereby requesting a copy. I'll go back it up with facts as best you can. You can get on the internet. Can't believe everything they say. Anyways, that's what I wanted to say tonight. I wish luck. And I hope that this gets resolved to suit everybody. And I think you make the right decision in the end. Good night.
Thank you. We have time for one more comment?
My name is Pat Walsh, Raton resident, and I just was here for the previous workshop, and I just wanted to thank all the mayor, the commissioners, and the city manager for putting in the time and effort that you are on looking into the research for the ordinances that you're considering on data centers and night sky. Night sky is close to my heart as a former park ranger, so I just wanted you to know that I do see you working hard for not much money, and I just want you to know that I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I agree.
Okay, we will be moving on to the business portion of our meeting. Thank you, everyone, for your participation. Item A, deliberate and act on approval of the June 9th, 2026 regular meeting minutes. Any amendments or corrections to the minutes? If not, I would entertain a motion.
I move to approve the June 9, 2026 regular meeting minutes.
Second.
I have a motion, a second to approve. Any further discussion? All in favor, vote by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item B, introduction of ordinance, establishing rates for water and sewer use from the municipal system of the city of Raton, amending ordinance number 1018 and repealing all ordinances and regulations in conflict therewith. Mr. Sagata.
Mayor and Commission, before you is an introduction of an ordinance presented by Raton Waterworks establishing rates for water and sewer use in Raton. We do have here tonight Mr. Lloyd Wakefield, the Director of Raton Waterworks, as well as the Board President, Mr. Mark Morris. He was here. There he is. He's hiding behind Gayla. Sorry. But they are here to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Sagata. Comments, questions from the commission? And Lloyd, if you would like to come up, I'm sure we'll have some kind of question for you. Thank you. We'll let Mark or Mr. Morris sit for.
He's got the prepared statement.
Is there anything you'd like to tell us first?
No, it's just straightforward. It's just the operating expenses like Mark and Lynn had reported. It's really all it is. Operating expenses have gone up. Utility costs, permitting, chemical costs, everything's just going up, and we need to, as you know, Ms. Mayor, you were there last year. We had discussed it, and we chose not to. Nobody wants to have a rate increase, but it's the cost of doing business. Just like with we're highly regulated. We need those certified operators that we have. We need to keep them on staff. That would be, that would partial of that would be for that. Average cost on the bill would be around $2.10. That's on a 6,000 gallon user. A normal average customer user would be $2.10 more to their bill.
That's very helpful. I was going to ask that. Thank you. Comments, questions from the commission? Commissioner Hunt.
Actually, after sitting in their seat for a long time, I would actually say the same thing. As it's been a while coming, but with increasing personnel costs, cost of chemicals, regulatory requirements changing annually, actually, and actually a declining population over the last 10 years where usage is actually down, that doesn't mean you can have any less operators or anything else, to where at this point, like on the initial year of it, 6,000 gallons is what New Mexico Environment Department considers an annual average use, not including irrigation, that's the difference, but about $2.10. But when you still look at where you're looking at for $2.93, you're paying for 1,000 gallons of water what you pay for a bottle at the store. That's kind of AW, American Water Works Association's biggest line on that. We'll walk in there and pay that for a bottle of water and be upset when we pay that for 1,000 gallons.
And another note, our average, statewide average, we're roughly running right around 30 to 35% lower than everybody else in the state. Same size of community as we have.
That's helpful, thank you.
That's the benefit of gross receipts tax.
Gross receipts tax.
Yeah, have that recurring tax for those. Yeah, that is a great decision, because we share that.
But that's only to be used for water projects. So,
Not for operating.
not for operating, no.
But it keeps us from raising rates for projects, because we have had some really big projects.
Right. And we have a lot of, well, there's a few more big projects coming up that we're shooting for, hoping for. All right.
And just in terms of public hearing, will that be at the next meeting if this gets introduced tonight? There will be a public
Yes.
hearing for this next time, right?
Yes.
So we will have a public hearing for this, and please feel free to call the water department or come to our public hearing whenever it is posted on the agenda. That will happen before we vote the final ordinance, and this is just an introduction. Anything further from the commission? Thank you, appreciate you, Lloyd.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Mayor, you'll need a motion to introduce.
Motion to introduce, yeah.
I would move to introduce the ordinance establishing rates for water and sewer use from the municipal system of the city of Raton, amending ordinance number 1018 and repealing all ordinances and regulations in conflict therewith.
I have a motion and a second for item B, the introduction of the ordinance with the water rates. Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, can we have a roll call, please?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Mayor Chatterley?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Honeyfield?
Yes.
Commissioner Schuster?
Yes.
Commissioner Campbell?
Yes.
And Commissioner Hoger?
Yes. Thank you, motion carries. We'll move on to item C, public hearing and deliberate and act on the resolution 2026-33 infrastructure capital improvement plan, otherwise known as the ICIP, for fiscal year 28 through 32. Mr. Scott.
Mayor and Commission, before you is a resolution establishing the city's priorities for the fiscal year 28-32 infrastructure capital outlay plan. This is our third public hearing, and it comes before you tonight as an action item. City recommends approval, which would then be submitted at the conclusion of tonight's meeting, because Mr. Phillips is heading to hot country. But Mr. Phillips is here right now to answer any questions that we have.
Thank you, Mr. Sagata. I know we have discussed this in depth a couple other meetings, but we have Mr. Phillips here. If you'd like to say anything, Mr. Phillips, and then we can ask questions.
Mayor and Commission, I believe we've captured all of the public input from department heads, commissioners. Mr. Scott and I sat down and hammered out the final rankings. They're most likely to be funded priorities, things that aren't really capital outlay but should be on the list. Usually you don't put in your top 5 necessarily. We do know there's an appetite for funding that is quick turnaround. So, things like storm drainage improvements, while valuable, are sometimes less likely to be funded than public works equipment. We're talking Ferraris and such, like a new street sweeper to replace our 1986 Elgin Pelican, good stuff like that. RPD patrol cars, we've got several cars that are probably ready to be surplused out at any time and always gaining in mileage. We've added, I think every item that you've asked for to be on there, and just so y'all are clear on it, just because the ICIP is ranked this way, when it comes time for capital outlay and we submit requests, y'all have the purview to change your mind, recommend number 4 instead of number 1, however it goes. So, but if there's any changes you'd like to make, I will definitely be glad to capture those this evening. The database is ready to be uploaded whenever it's ready, but it's no big deal to make a few adjustments. So.
Thank you, Mr. Phillips. I will go ahead and read the top 14 for the public. And these are prioritized because of the chance of being funded through state capital outlay. However, other grants do look at this ICIP plan, so it is important to have projects on there. And the times and things we've found out in the past don't always matter. The ranking doesn't always matter. If the state decides they're going to fund something, they'll pick something. And I am glad to see we do have some equipment because that is typically an easier ask. So the number one priority is number one for 2028 projects. Lake Maloya Dam safety improvements. Number 2, drainage and storm drain improvements. Number 3, patrol car replacement, RPD. Number 4, city public works equipment. Number 5, wastewater plant improvement projects. Number 6, El Portal housing development. Number 7, Buck Ridge Ranch development. Number 8, Raton Animal Shelter replacement. Number 9, Kearney School film studio expansion. 10, ADA improvements, parks. 11, 1 megawatt photovoltaic array and storage. Number 12, city building improvements and renovations. 13, Schuler Theater improvements. And 14, airport apron reconstruction. And many of the other things that we've already discussed fall under a different year, but we just try to keep the list not super long for that year. So, any comments or questions from the commission before we have a public hearing? Thank you, Mr. Phillips.
Thank you.
This is time if the, go ahead.
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
Is how important is it on the further years out of the amount you have in there? And the reason I'm doing it is Lloyd's back there is year 2 and 3 is Lake Maloya Dam improvements is proving out to be a lot larger number than that. Is that going to be a concern or does that?
It should not be. I mean, because really year 1 of this is actually 2028.
Okay.
So we have chances to modify it. But if we're talking water trust board type money, it's good that it's on the ICIP. Number 1 says something more politically than it does, statistically in this case. But you say it's our number 1 priority. And when you're looking at tens of millions of dollars, that's important to them. So even though Water Trust Board doesn't really rely exclusively on ICIP rankings, it's important to keep it there. But ultimately, whatever your PER determines funding amount request, just doesn't set a cap. It's just a guideline.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Mr. Phillips. This is a public hearing if anyone would like to speak on any ICIP priorities. Okay. Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2026-33.
I'll make that motion to approve resolution 2026-33 infrastructure capital improvement plan, ICIP, FY28 through FY32.
Second.
I have a motion, a second, to adopt Resolution 2026-33. Any further discussion? All in favor, vote by the sign of aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And now we have item D, presentation, Youth Heartline and New Hope Family Counseling. Mr. Scott.
Mayor and Commission, we have a presentation of the Youth Heartline and New Hope Family Council programs. This is in association with the JJAC program. I believe we have a couple of ladies here to present for you.
Excellent. If you'd like to come up, we'd love to hear from you. In our packet, we have the Learning Lab listed first, but we're willing to start wherever you want.
Okay. Hi, everybody from last year. So I was here last year in the summer, and my name is Angie Ortega. I'm the owner of New Hope Family Counseling, which is a local private practice for mental health counseling. I'm the contractor for the Learning Lab and also for Restorative Justice Program. So this is kind of a quick annual update and summary. I provide a lot of information, and then I'm kind of glad that we tamed it down just so I could give you the basics so you guys have a lot to go through in a night. So just to kick off with the Learning Lab, we'll start with that one. That was a pilot project over the last year. I'm proud to report on numbers because it's not an easy program to run. So we did serve 30 kiddos. They were ages 7th grade through seniors. I wish I could give you numbers on credits and things like that because that's how I used to do it at the alternative school, but that was harder to do because we have kids in all these different programs. Some of them are middle school kids. They don't get credits, all that kind of a thing. We did serve 15 kids at the lab for specific academic support and tutoring. Then in addition to that,
towards halfway through the year, we also added sort of like a third cohort for after-school hours because we had some kids asking for extra help for after-school for tutoring. So in addition to that tutoring that we did with that group of kiddos, we also incorporated community service projects, social learning, social skills, all those kinds of good things. So I felt like it was a successful year. We got our location established. We did that at my stepdad's office. He donated his whole half of the building, so that was cool. It was a nice little space. Some people got to come and check it out for the ribbon cutting. It's pretty nice down there. It's very cozy for sure. We were able to get all the supplies that they needed. We got extra laptops, hotspots, things like that. Let's see what else we had. We did get us some staff. We lost one this year who, for good reason, she went on to go get a master's, so she had to leave us. She's going to do a master's in social work, which I was fond of. Let's see what else. As far as students and a process and all that, we had ups and downs with that. So we did learn, kind of similar to public school setting, attendance was rough. We struggled with that, and in my head I thought, oh, if we just give them the right setting and the right staff, they're going to come. Wasn't always the case. The kids that were consistent, they were consistent and they finished strong. The kids that weren't consistent, we battled and we really tried hard and put a lot of work, and just still at the end of the day, if it wasn't a value for them, it just really wasn't going to happen. For the kiddos that did stick it out and that did continue to attend, they all said they would like to have it again next year. So we ended on a good note as far as that goes. So a lot of learning this year for the Learning Lab for me as a staff or as a coordinator, whatever I call myself. I learned some things. I definitely would like to see it keep going for next year. So I do think there are kids that need a separate setting at times, and I think it served its purpose there. So that's Learning Lab. I'm going to jump to restorative, but if you have any questions, I did give you guys like a little PowerPoint for the Learning Lab, and I felt a little embarrassed because I didn't have pictures of like the students sitting at their desks working, which is the whole point of it. But I definitely did include, I wanted you all to know that we did combine those students along with our restorative students, and this year we did a whole lot of community projects. And so you'll see that in both of the presentations for the Learning Lab and restorative. Through my years of social work, I think it's important to have the kids give back. I think it's important for them to do things within their community so they meet new people, they learn their social skills, and they learn that they're valued too. So some of the kids that we end up with, sometimes they aren't the kids that are in all the other extracurriculars or sports or whatnot. And so we really did a really heavy emphasis on community service this year. So we did a whole lot of projects. I can tell you by Christmas we were burnt out. We were tired. We got a lot done this year. Any questions on Learning Lab, or is it okay if I move to restorative?
Any questions on the Learning Lab?
No? Okay. So restorative justice went extra awesome in my opinion because we did not only hit our 200 circles, which is a grant requirement, just the progress we saw in the kids that we served this year was like the highlight of the whole thing. 75% of our kids that participated in restorative justice did not reoffend. So that's kind of cool. That means it's working. We have a lot of good data. Ms. Starr from the high school helped us collect a lot. We got a little bit from the middle school too. I'm not done putting it all together. So I'll say as of March, we served 173 different kiddos. That did not include all the people that sat at those circles. That didn't include the people that they offended against, or their victims, if we want to call it that, or all the parents, or all the people from school or JPO. So a lot of people got to participate in the programs. So the numbers are beautiful, in my opinion, for that program. Just a fast example of one of the good circles that we had this year. This was not even one of the best ones. It was the fastest one I could think of. A student was caught, I don't remember honestly if it was vaping or possession of drugs at school. What we did right in that student's restorative plan, in addition to having to sit with their family, the principal, and everybody and take accountability for them disrespecting the rules, what we did for their project is we set them up to interview a local EMT because that's what they want to do when they get out of school. Since that student completed that interview and participated in that, that student's grades started coming up and her truancy got better. So kind of just changing the focus of it, it made an impact. Also, the best thing I feel like we did this year for the restorative, again, was we really did a lot of restorative justice community service projects. So there's a whole lot in that PowerPoint that I gave you guys. But to name a few, they put together 35 food baskets for people in need over Thanksgiving. They did do a homecoming float. They took second place for their float for the light parade, which I would like to add. They even gave out presents to all the kids in the community. That the first 100 that showed up, I'll put it that way. A lot of kids had good reflections on that. They did a Halloween trunk or treat. Keep in mind, this was like their consequence for their behaviors. So they did some things that were wrong, and I'm not going to call it a punishment because that's not what it's supposed to be for. But sort of like their consequence, their restorative plan to restore their reputation, the harm they caused, was to go participate in their community. And I feel like that was super successful this year. We even got to where kids are like, I haven't been in restorative lately because I haven't gotten in any trouble, but let me know if there's any more projects to do. I was like, okay, we'll let you know. So I think that it really went well. We did, I think, total like 10 projects altogether for the year. So it was pretty cool. We're looking forward to doing it again next year. We hope to hit the 200 circles again. Next year, we want to make even more of an emphasis on the restorative plans. And again, I hope you guys will see some of our kids with us. And if you see us out in the community at places, I kind of hope you know they're actually not always there all for fun. It's actually because there's some reasons and some restoring they have to do. So it was a really good year. Any questions on restorative?
I absolutely love the sense of community that you're creating, and not just helping the community, but also community within the programs. I think it's really valuable and important work.
It was fun.
Appreciate you guys. It was pretty fun. I saw the picture of someone exhausted on the desk. I was like,
oh yeah, that was it. That was December.
I made it this far, right? And you guys have done even more.
Staff were like, we still have a semester to go, and it's like, I know, but it went well. Thank you.
Any comments or questions about restorative justice?
Well, I have one, and it's maybe off the wall, but the mayor and I were talking, I think just last week, about bringing back, I don't know if you remember, we used to give away You Rock Awards for citizens who are doing, just slightly outstanding work. And so noticing that how well your students are painting rocks, maybe we could do a joint effort, and you guys could get the students to paint rocks for.
We usually got a group of kids or a few that are happy to do stuff like that. So yeah, we've got it. Sure.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Commission. My name is Gayla Martinez, and I'm here to present to you about Youth Heartline and our work within the community. I am currently working as the supervised visitation monitor for Youth Heartline. I also am the outreach specialist for Youth Heartline, One Circle facilitator, and also support the paperwork for the One Circle. I am brand new to the first two positions, but I've been a One Circle facilitator for the past 3 years. I have placed a pamphlet on your stand there, so you can take a look at that if you'd like, with additional information about our programming that we do have. Let me give you a little background on Youth Heartline. Youth Heartline was founded in 1991 as a child advocacy and family stability nonprofit. Our mission is to improve positive long-term outcomes and access to services, reducing risk factors and barriers for underserved children in Colfax, Union, and Taos counties. Our programming includes court, so we do supervised visitation for non-custodial parents to be able to meet with their children whenever they have trouble. We also provide a CASA program for foster children so that they could have support while they navigate the foster court system. We offer stability programming, and our stability program helps families navigate social housing benefits, and if they're experiencing homelessness or if they are needing training in life skills or anything like that, we have somebody that can help them with that. We also have a sense of community. Our community programming teaches socio-emotional skills to the children in our community. And for students in grades 5th through 8th grade. And this year we added Springer to our groups, and those we were completed through 5th and 12th grade. We provided community enrichment activities for families and trained educators on trauma awareness. Currently, as One Circle facilitator and support, we have 7 One Circle facilitators working in the schools, 4 male and 3 female. We hold socio-emotional groups for the kids. The kids love them. When they see me in town, they're like, when are you going to start groups again? I can't wait. Because it's really fun and engaging for them. We play games. We make it interactive. Angie used to be a circle facilitator, so she's quite aware. And we, in the process of doing activities and projects, we teach them about friendships, communication, conflict resolution, how to relate with each other better. Through this programming, the kids have shown in the classroom to be better with connection and support. They love the activities. They've shown significant personal growth, and the teachers highlight more cooperation in the classroom after they've participated in the program. They absolutely just love it. So as the years have gone by, we have held these groups within the schools for many years. And this year we were determined to expand our program furthering. We did go ahead and get groups in Springer, and we completed these this last semester. We tried to start groups in Cimarron. We started groups in Cimarron, and we did our first session with them. And as a part of our programming, we have to have the demographics from the children for our funding. And the superintendent would not allow us to have those demographics. So we had to cease operations of those groups there in Cimarron. So here at the end of the year, it came down to where we had a little extra funding and we had to use it. So we had to hurry and kind of put together a program for the community. And we put our heads together and thought really, really hard on how we could do this. And we designed a whole entire community program called the Summer Play. We had 47 people, students, sign up for the program, completely free to the community and the children. We were able to connect with the Raton Public Schools summer lunch program, and they provided us with breakfast and lunch. It's been operating for the past 5 weeks, and we've been running on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. And we've had several community people come in and do volunteer programs, and we've had shoot rockets in the sky. We've gone and we've painted rocks for the Welcome Center, which is coming. We have done a lot of sewing and crafts and kickball and wiffle ball outside. We've had a blast. We're going to finish up on Thursday with a big water party. So the kids are real excited to do that. And we've teamed up for Thursday with the Education at Work program through the PED. Those kids are going to come help volunteer to finish out the program. So let's see, where else was I put that? So would anybody have any questions about Youth Heartline Array programming?
I have a question. Just in general for all the programs, if someone in the community is really excited about this work, do you have volunteers? Is there training they can do? Do they contact you? Or are you looking for people to hire? I mean, how can we help you? How can we help get the word out? What do you need, and how can the community help?
That's a good question. So for all of our programming, we'll provide the training, but there has to be, I think they have to do initially 20 hours of trauma training because we're working with kids, and that comes up a lot. And then passing background checks, driver's license, all that good stuff. And then at the Learning Lab, we're open to helpers, anybody that wants to volunteer to do tutoring, things like that, especially math. We're always hoping for that. And yeah, so anytime, we're kind of, I've had really awesome staff, but they leave because they go to bigger and better things, and I'm like, dang, I lost another good one. So yeah, we're always open to that. And any help is always appreciated, so.
When there's children involved, it takes a village to raise a child. So we're always welcome to have any help. Welcome. Yeah.
Thank you for the work you do.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Thank you for all the support.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Michael Ann. Now, this is Miss Antonucci, one of the projects that she is really excited about and helps administer. So I'm grateful to her for that too. Okay, item E. deliberate and act on Planning and Zoning Commission recommendation, rezoning request by Mark and Kathy Honeyfield at 1301 Cedar Street. Mr. Sagata.
Mayor and Commission, before you is a recommendation coming to you from the Planning and Zoning Commission for a rezoning of property located at 1301 Cedar Street, owned by Commissioner Honeyfield and his wife. The purpose is for the location of a possible electronic message board. It currently has a board on it, but it's still not zoned properly. We do have Mac here that can answer some of the questions for the commission, should you have some.
Thank you, Mr. Sagata. Comments or questions from the commission? I actually have several questions. He knew that.
Yes.
So I was curious, when this first came, and this is nothing against Mayor Pro Tem Honeyfield, but when this first came to the commission, this was about a grant application. Has that grant application already been submitted?
I believe it has.
Okay.
I see
is that
Ann
okay?
sitting
Ann,
out there in the,
ask Ann.
somebody yell at Ann.
And would know better about the grant.
That's fine. Sorry, can I ask you a question, Ann? The grant application for the digital billboard, has that already been submitted? Yeah, I thought so. We had to prove that. And it was, we had listed 2 possible locations on that application,
No.
or just one?
Well, just one.
What was, and you may not know the answer to this, is this action of planning and zoning required by the grant?
I mean, essentially, I just, what we put in the grant was that there was an intent to lease with the property owner, saying that it wasn't like a completed done deal, or it wasn't 100% the finalized site, but that there was an intent to lease for that location, but it wasn't like 100% committed.
Thank you, because we have not received the grant, correct?
It's, yeah, they haven't given any word yet. I mean, I think Jason will probably be I think it was submitted under Jason's name, so he would be the first person to know about it, but as far as I know, it has not been. They haven't made any announcements yet.
Thank you
and
for
they don't
speaking.
even have a timeline, as far as I've seen, so.
Thank you for speaking on the fly.
Yes,
I
no
appreciate that.
problem.
I was trying to remember all the details of that, because I guess I had some concerns about that initial meeting, just, it is a commissioner on the commission that we're looking at a piece of property, and I want to make sure that we have gone through all the proper processes before we commit to that particular property. So that's my main concern tonight, is that this feels like we're more committing to that property, and I'm not ready to commit to that property until we've been fully transparent in that process. So.
I mean, when I talked with George Riley, he did talk to a property owner on the other side of the highway that would be interested in having a conversation. I don't know what the proper procedure is for the city to do that. I would just say, from a marketing standpoint, I did all of everything that I submitted. I did all these placer reports, and it's literally the best place that it could possibly be, just in terms of the numbers on that side of the traffic. The southbound traffic from Colorado is 5,000 per day, and then it's a little less on the northbound side. It's like 4,800 per day. So, and then if we do get the grant and it's dual-sided, I mean, theoretically, you can see from both sides, but obviously, it would be better to have people be able to have enough time to turn off at Clayton Road, because if you're going northbound, if it's on the other side, then they have to get off at the next exit, which we know isn't where the amenities are, and so we really would like them to get off at Clayton Road.
I don't disagree that it's a good location. I just feel like if there is a lease involved, if there's anything like that involved, it has to go through like a very transparent process.
Sure.
Thank you.
And Mayor and Commission, I think right now, we're not at that point to there. This is just a simple zoning change that needs to be done, even for the sign that he has there to exist.
Presently.
Yeah, he is currently, I believe it's an image, and Matt can probably speak to this better than I am, but I think this is just to get it in compliance. I don't think.
With its current use.
I don't think we've solidly committed to a site yet, yes. Mac?
I would agree, and really what's being put before the commission isn't to vote on what the sign is going to say or anything like that, or what the end of the line use will be. All the commission is being asked to determine is this a reasonable rezoning of this property from MH mobile home subdivision to C3. It does fit the criteria. That brings it into alignment with other properties in the area that are C3. Again, like Mayor Sagata, went back in time. City Manager Sagata said, it brings it into line with what is the property is already being used for.
Thank you, Mac. And I agree with that. It's just that the letter and the application itself state directly that it is for a City of Raton digital billboard, which is what gives me pause on this. So if it were just simply to make sure that it's up to standard for a regular sign, that would be fine, but it sounds like we've already made a decision, which I personally am not ready to commit to, but that is just my own personal opinion. So I'm open to comments, questions from the commission.
Should we postpone and correct that?
That's if that's possible, I think it's better to, if we're gonna go through the rezoning, like, if this doesn't have to happen now, I'd rather postpone it. If there's any particular reason why it has to happen now.
Is it, well, I think from the grants perspective, I mean, we haven't been awarded yet. They were favoring grants. Obviously, you know, the state grants want to favor anything that is like shovel ready. Right. And so I think that's one of the reasons that we wanted to push having this intent to lease, just to show that we had done, like, we don't have to go through a whole lot of due diligence. However, we haven't been awarded yet, and if it's a matter of just pushing it off to the next commission meeting, I don't think that's going to matter, as long as it doesn't hold up anything with zoning in terms of like how long it's been since it was approved at the zoning meeting. I'm not sure if there's rules around that, but that would be my only thing, is that if we were awarded the grant, we would want to hit the ground running as soon as possible.
Oh, I totally understand that. I just feel like this commits us to already choosing a location, which I feel like we have to go through a process to do that.
Yeah,
so.
and the chances of them awarding it between now and the next commission meeting, because the holidays, is probably fairly unlikely.
And I don't know how we remedy that, or if I'm being overly concerned about something, but I feel like when it is a commissioner, it's that much more important.
Well, let me kind of describe what we're looking at. So that particular property is between 12 and 15 acres. It has I-25 frontage as well as Cedar Street frontage. It backs up to both traffic lanes. And all, so that was part of the reasoning to it. A little history here. Mac, maybe you could correct me on this. I want to say it occurred in the 70s. The commission at that time decided that Stringtown would be appropriate for a mobile home park. And so they went through and zoned all of it, even though it was commercial frontage. I-25 had been put through in the early 60s. And a lot of those folks probably didn't have any input into it at the time. So they rezoned it, even though it's more appropriate as a commercial site than a mobile home park or residential. And all, so that's part of the reason behind it. But kind of Ms. Tice's point, it does make it cleaner for what she's trying to achieve if this is in place now instead of after the fact. And all, but like I said, its location and its size, it just makes sense that it be zoned what's being requested, not as a mobile home park.
I totally understand that. My only issue with the rezoning request is that it is specifically states for this project as if we've already awarded it, which I'm not comfortable stating, especially if there is a lease involved, if there is potentially money, you know, if there's different things. So like if, you know, conflict of interest is huge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, then I actually move that we postpone this to the next meeting to change the zoning without the digital sign included at all. That would be a separate lease at the award of that, where we would actually address at that point. And the action would be, I would assume at the next meeting, just to change the zoning and postpone it.
Thank you, Commissioner. Is that possible by the next meeting, or would that have to go through planning and zoning again?
I believe we can just postpone it. It's just a matter of taking out a paragraph.
Okay, so I have a motion on the table to postpone to make it a more general zoning request.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for item E to postpone that until the next commission meeting. Any further discussion? All in favor, vote by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I abstain.
Thank you. Motion carries with Mayor Pro Tem Honeyfield's abstention. Item F, deliberate and act on Lodgers Tax Advisory Board recommendations. Mr. Scotta.
Mayor and Commission, before you are 3 recommendations from the Lodgers Tax Board. First one is for the amount of $7,493.14 for advertisement with Enchanted Air, KRTN Radio. Second is for $6,861.71 to the Dawson, New Mexico Association for items and announcements for the Dawson reunion. And the third is for $6,970 to be awarded to Phillips Broadcasting for advertisements. As you all are aware, we are experiencing a little bit of a down slope in Lodgers tax this year. I will point out that the 2 radio station requests are throughout the year. So those are monthly payments, so we should be good there. Michael Ann did give you some information, I believe, on the Lodgers tax in your packet, and she is here tonight. I think initially we thought we might have to make a transfer of some funds, but I think she's worked something out. I'll let her speak to y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Scott.
Good evening, Mayor and Commission. In your packet, you'll see a memo that I did provide to the Lodgers Tax Board for their meeting last week. Since then, we did collect, as of today, I believe, all of the lodging remittances due for the month of June. So we did collect $41,380, which is $36.65 more than last year in June. So we at least met that benchmark. But that does still leave us $33,526 short compared to last year. However, we do have certain line items that we haven't fully expended this year. So I think everybody did a good job trying to allocate the funds for the year. But with that, as of today, that would leave us a ending cash balance of $49,699.60. So even if we do have a few of the monthly expenses still to come out between now and next Tuesday, I don't believe that the fund would be in a negative starting July 1. Now, as City Manager Sagata alluded to, some of these expenses are monthly, so it's more of a cash flow issue. We do have pretty strong returns come the June, July, August, September, and then going into the winter months, it drops considerably. And so, you know, it's not like July 1, we just have this magic pot of money that starts over July 1. We'll have to kind of replenish the fund over time. So we can continue to monitor during the new fiscal year and see how we're doing. But if we don't see the trend improve, then as we start to get the requests for various events, probably going into the spring of next year, there may be some tough decisions that have to be made if there's not enough funds. Now, we did mention in the memo to the Lodgers Tax Board that we, you know, it would be a difficult year due to the declining funds. However, we are still hopeful that the GROW funds would materialize for the 2027 Gate City and then another grant for the 2027 Balloon Rally. So I think that will provide some relief for the next fiscal year. So that is something encouraging on the horizon. I did also make a note in there that we are moving forward with the short-term rental
amendment to our ordinance, and then we'll probably be contracting with a company for less than $5,000 a year that would assist with identifying the short-term rentals. So just in our preliminary discussions with the company, they estimate that we have about 38 rental listings in Raton currently, with an average nightly booking rate of $249. So, I think that probably we could collect maybe 20 to 30,000, maybe additional revenue, maybe not quite that much. I would think that a lot of these places aren't rented every single day of the calendar year, but I think it would definitely help to fill a little bit of the hole, and then also level the playing field for all of the lodgers in our community. So you will see that I did provide you the same reports that we did for the Lodgers Tax Board, but I did want to give you the updated information as of today. I think also attached to this is the FY27 interim budget, so you can kind of see what the amounts are that we've budgeted for FY27 for like the annual events, contingency fund, print, and radio. The only other thing is we do have several billboard contracts that would be expiring, but not until July of 2027. So that's really not an option for this coming fiscal year, but we could revisit those probably come May of next year and see if we want to continue with those or try to reallocate that expense to a different funding source, but that's all still up for discussion.
Thank you, Ms. Antonucci. I appreciate that. I'm really glad to know we don't have to worry about a transfer. I don't think there is any transfers that are temporary in this fund right now because it's so easy to spend it. I feel like people really want to utilize this, and we have to be really cautious.
Yeah, and I think that was going to be my recommendation. If it needed to be a temporary transfer, then we could potentially move the money back to whichever source we took it from if the lodger's tax was showing some sort of recovery.
And it looks like Dawson Reunion is not until September, so we have a little bit of time.
It's usually the Labor Day weekend.
Comments or questions from the commission about the lodger's tax request?
Madam Mayor, are you thinking to do these separately? The approvals? Or?
I always prefer to do them separately, just I think it's cleaner. Any questions or comments on any of the recommendations?
I guess the two requests from the radio companies, it's like a billboard. It gets our name out there with some frequency and whatnot. I could see that being a good thing. The Dawson Reunion one, I was told by a participant that the shirt they're asking us to fund to the tune of $3,700, they resell. So I have a little heartburn with that one. That I can go along with their porta potties and some of their advertising, but I think we need to draw them.
Mr. Scott, do you know if that is the case? Because that would be a...
Mayor and Commission, I do not know. I know we do require them whenever they purchase shirts to put Explore Raton on the shirt. But as far as them being resold, I couldn't answer that question.
Do we have a policy in place regarding that? Because that does seem to not be in the spirit of lodger's tax funding if we're buying your shirts
Madam Mayor,
and you're making money off us.
I would venture a guess as to say no, we don't have anything on that. But I would have to do some looking.
I believe they do sell them because they sell the year before if they have any left for a cheaper amount. But I think they put it into their seed money and it goes towards their reunion.
Yeah.
And the lodgers that are on the board were very pleased with this one because they said that it really does fill up the lodging establishments in Raton when they come.
That is one thing I was looking at is all their information, they heavily use our hotels.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a positive, and they have 400 to 600 people, in those hotel rooms, and they send out specifically Raton lodging, which I appreciate.
Yes.
but I can understand that point being brought up as well. And I've wanted for a while to have some better policies and things in place with the large tax board. I know maybe they're working on some of those things.
You know, it unfortunately has been about 2 months since I've been to, but I know that they've been looking at redoing some of the policies and redoing the form that people have to fill out. I know that's in the works. I don't know how quickly they can work on that. Do either of you know?
So they were never working on it, no ma'am. Rick was looking at it at one point, but he never changed it, but no, not really.
Okay. Well, I think I know who to talk to about it, but,
I guess the only other comment I would make, though, KCRT had a third option that had much better coverage and whatnot for about $3,300 more. And to me, in that regard, it's money well spent. And to Ms. Antonucci's point, it's over the course of 12 months and whatnot. But because of their area coverage, it gets our name out to a much bigger audience than we would have with a billboard or anything else. But like I said, that was the only question I had, was regarding resellable items.
I think that's something we definitely need to address. I felt that since I started, that we needed lodger's tax work, so I don't know. I'm willing to create a subcommittee if anyone wants to help me on lodger's tax. You want to help me? And we'll get together and maybe get some help people from the lodger's tax board. Start working on it finally. So, Mr. Scott, if that's possible, I'd love to arrange that.
Mayor and Commissioner, we can do that. I'm just thinking of other events that I know items are sold and
And that happens regularly.
it happens regularly, so I'm kind of at a loss now.
Yeah, if we don't have a policy, I don't think we can prohibit it, but in the future going forward, if we created one, that would be something to do. Thank you for that information.
It is a good question, though. Is it being resold?
Great question.
And something that policy-wise, maybe we need to change.
Further comments, questions?
City Manager Sagata, did you provide this to us?
Yes, we did.
I appreciate that, thank you.
It's kind of dated, but it.
Yeah, there's a new one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's the one I grew up with.
There's like a fancier, colorful one, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a great, I think it's very similar. That'll be good, we'll get everybody one. Please, if we could have a copy of the new one in all our boxes, I would love that.
You bet.
Thank you. Okay. What is the wish of the commission on the Enchanted Air KRTN radio recommendation?
I would move to approve funding. Move to approve the lodger's tax funding for KRTN.
Second.
Motion a second to approve the Enchanted Air KRTN radio request for $7,493.14. Any further discussion? All in favor, vote by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. What is the will of the commission on the Dawson, New Mexico Association Dawson Reunion Picnic request of $6,861.71?
I'm going to guess that what they're requesting is just the production of the T-shirts, and I do know, this event does put heads in beds and brings a lot of people, and people that you don't expect, like Dolores Huerta, to show up. I think I would propose that we fund the entire amount this year, and then look at how we can deal with resaleable items since we don't really have a policy. I think we need to establish that before we make any denials. So that would be my motion.
So I have a motion from Commissioner Schuster. Hopefully you got that, Madam Clerk. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the Dawson, New Mexico Association Dawson Reunion Picnic. Any further discussion? That was $6,861.71. All in favor, vote by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Please notate, we have one no vote.
I'm sorry, who was the no vote?
Mayor Pro Tem Honeyfield. And the third request for Phillips Broadcastings, what is the wish of the commission on that one?
Madam Mayor, if everybody will look at the back page of that one, like I said, it lists out the three options. But option 3 really makes that one as compatible as the KRTN one for a number of ads, but the coverage is much better, and I think it'd be worth at an expense to promote the community in that respect.
So we have a motion on the table to approve actually option 3 for the Phillips Broadcasting request, $8,890. I'm assuming plus it doesn't have GRT or not. So, but the option 3 quote, is there a second for option 3?
I would second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve option 3 for Phillips Broadcasting. Any further discussion? All in favor, vote by the sign of aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item G, deliberate and act on Trap Club lease agreement renewal. Mr. Scotta.
Mayor and Commission, before you is the lease renewal agreement with the Raton Trap Club. Club has been operating on the property since the late 60s, and as part of the agreement, they provide all the maintenance and upkeep of the property. We have Mr. Dave Pensino has patiently been sitting in the back there waiting for this item, and if you have any questions, I'm sure he'd be happy to answer. The city would recommend approval.
Thank you, Mr. Sagata. Thank you, Mr. Piancino. Is there anything you'd like to add to this?
Not at the moment.
Any comments or questions from the commission?
And this is the same lease every year, just like this is right here?
This lease was first presented, the newest lease in 2010 for 5-year intervals, and it was approved for 9 renewals. So basically, it's a 50-year lease. And this is probably the 3rd renewal, Dave?
Yes.
Yeah.
And from my understanding, this wouldn't require ordinance of anything because it's underneath the dollar amount, so it's very, and we very much appreciate the partnership and the work that you all do out there. It's a great sport.
Dave, how many events or participants do you have that use the facility? Okay.
So we have a limited amount of members. So for the past 6-7 years, we only hold 2 events, first weekend of May, and then we have our annual coming up, which is a big one, and it'll bring in probably 30 to 50 shooters. We're looking at close to hitting maybe 50 shooters and it's in August 16th and 17th. So the May shoot is a Saturday, Sunday, and our annual is a Saturday, Sunday as well.
Great event.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And also, as I stated in the letter, that we also bring in participants from Oklahoma, Texas, Colorado, and once in a great while, Kansas. So we bring people from all over the states.
Thank you. I have a motion from Commissioner Campbell to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, vote by the sign of aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item H, deliberate and act on Financial Advisory Committee application. Mr. Scotta.
Mayor and Commission, before you is an application for an additional slot on the Financial Advisory Committee. We have Ms. Gail Seward as the applicant. I've been associated with her at the Visitor Center. I know her anyway. I think she'd be a great candidate for this position. City would recommend approval.
Thank you, Mr. Scotta. Further comments, questions from the commission? It appears that Ms. Seward is very qualified to help in this matter and this committee.
I will move to approve Ms. Gail Seward as Financial Advisory Committee applicant.
I'll second.
Motion and a second to approve Gail Seward on the Financial Advisor Committee. Any further discussion? All in favor, vote by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item I, deliberate and act on Lodgers Tax Advisory Board application. Mr. Scott.
Mayor and Commission, before you is an application for an open position on the Lodgers Tax Board. This is the at-large position. Ms. Cindy McGinnis has applied for this. I think everybody up here knows Ms. McGinnis. She is, again, another well-qualified person, and the city would recommend appointment.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. Any comments or questions from the commission? None. I would entertain a motion.
I move that we appoint Cindy Montoya to the Lodgers Tax Advisory Board.
Second.
A motion a second to appoint Cindy Montoya to the Lodgers Tax Board. Any further discussion? All in favor, vote by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Item J, deliberate and act on recommendation of award for the Raton Municipal Cruisefield Airport Taxiway A pavement maintenance. Mr. Scott.
Mayor and Commission, before you is for approval is a recommendation of award to Highlight Airfield Services, LLC, in the amount of $217,397.25. They were one of two bidders for the proposed taxiway A pavement maintenance. All documents were submitted and in order. I believe it even came in a little under what we had anticipated, or the engineers anticipated. And I believe, don't they, their main office operates out of New York, correct? So we figure they're here doing other work somewhere else and threw a bid in, but the city would recommend approval for this.
Thank you, Mr. Scotta. Comments, questions from the commission? Everything looks to be in order.
I would move to approve the recommendation for the award for the Raton Municipal Cruisefield Airport Taxiway pavement maintenance to Highlight Airfield Services, LLC.
Second.
Motion a second to approve the recommendation for the pavement maintenance at the airport to Highlight Airfield Services, LLC for $217,397.25. Any further discussion? All in favor, vote by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item K, deliberate and act on first annual renewal of landfill disposal services. Mr. Scott.
Mayor and Commission, before you is the first annual renewal of landfill disposal services, i.e. the tipping fees for the landfill. Per contract, the price per ton will increase by the CPI figure for water, sewer, and trash. So this year it's a 4.7 increase. Our fee will increase from $33.28 per ton to $34.84 per ton. And again, we have Mr. Phillips here for questions the city would recommend.
Thank you, Mr. Scotta. Mr. Phillips, anything you'd like to add?
Mayor and Commission, you know, not unlike Jason just seized the day. Earlier this evening, you discussed water rate increases. Not something anybody wants to talk about, always an unpopular topic, always one that I'm dancing around the edges of. The facts of the matter are that our rates were established before I arrived at the city of Raton, and I will celebrate my 12th year here this week. We've been able to maintain that rate through attrition of employees. That rate was probably high when it was passed in 2012, but time has caught up with us. In our most recent budget, it looks like we will operate somewhere near $60,000 in the hole going forward this year. And the same inflationary pressures that the water department has seen have caught up with us. And we're at a point, you know, in any of our budgets, what we control, salaries and number of people employed. I don't think anyone would agree that I have extra staff, but I also cannot run an enterprise fund operating in a deficit. The facts are I have reserves. Not near what RPS or Waterworks have in their capital buckets, but I'm what's known as a captive utility. I don't have the benefit of boards to lobby on my behalf. I'm kind of a one-man show when it comes to that. And I'll be the lightning rod for criticism, but you see a 4.7% increase in the CPI. From 2021 until today, we're at 26.5% increase on tipping fees. Tipping fees are the largest non-salary line item in my budget. So, I mean, I think I've managed this thing as cheaply as I could and made the best decisions for this department always along the way. We've got nice equipment. We have staff that I would dare to say are underpaid already, and we're at a competitive disadvantage in the workplace. And it's something that shouldn't continue on. I mean, we'll study this issue, we'll, do the dance and try to compare our rates to other people, but the reality is it's a microeconomics problem. My tipping fees and transportation are unique only to myself, but, with this rate, we've managed to close a landfill 6 years into a post-closure that costs a lot of money, but, the CPI is in these contracts for a reason. That's what everybody across the country is filling, and a lot of municipalities tie their rate to something like the CPI because it's a known quantity, and in good years it's 1% or less, but we haven't seen good years in a few times on the inflationary scale, so I will study it better, present as much information, but if we go too long in a deficit, the whole point of having an enterprise fund is for me to help fund the city in general. You only have so much taxing authority. We use solid waste enterprise funds to pay salaries that aren't unique to solid waste, audit expenses, things like that. So one day that's coming. I have no objection to Mr. Arthur's increase. We built this contract in our procurement specifically for this reason, because at a 4.7%, if you didn't have that, contractors would opt out. We wouldn't have services. So I would recommend approval of this extension, but I would be the bearer of bad news that I think times are starting to get tough in solid waste.
Thank you, Mr. Phillips. And I appreciate that and expect to hear back from you on that. In terms of this contract, how many extensions do we have built into that?
We have a maximum 4 renewal years possible.
Okay.
And it's by mutual consent, so if his local inflationary pressures are worse than the CPI, he may opt out. If we thought we weren't getting a deal, we would do the same, but I've never opted out early in the contract.
Thank you, Mr. Phillips. Comments, questions from the commission?
Does this include his increases on fuel or anything else? Or?
This is not. This is for tipping only. The transportation contract is a 2-year contract that's not up for renewal, but it does include fuel escalation clauses that have kicked in for the months of March, April, and May, and I anticipate will in June as well. Baseline.
Question, if he goes up, does he go back down if fuel goes down?
It returns to baseline. So we have a rather complicated matrix spreadsheet that on the day of the bid, we establish the bulk price of diesel. Mr. Arthur buys in bulk, so it's set at that price. When it gets past the 25%, we trigger. We know how many trips we make each month, how many gallons it's estimated. It hasn't been as significant as financial hit the last few months as I anticipate. We average somewhere around 20 trips a month. It's in the thousands of dollars and not the tens of thousands of dollars, but.
Thank you. Anything further? Entertain a motion on item K.
I move to approve the first annual renewal of landfill disposal services.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second on item K, the first renewal of landfill disposal services or tipping fees. Any further discussion? All in favor, please vote by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item L, deliberate and act on purchase of 350 tons of cold mix asphalt from Northern Mountain Construction, utilizing state price agreement number 50-80500-241711. And I'm going to assume Mr. Phillips is still here to talk about this.
You got it.
Thank you.
Mayor and Commission, before you, we have a request to purchase cold mix again. The beauty of cold mix is it allows our smaller crew to work more efficiently. We have an asphalt recycler that can produce about a ton an hour, and it is a slightly less price. It is a lesser product. Northern Mountain is batching material Thursday for the state of New Mexico and has offered me the opportunity to jump in the current pricing structure on the last day of the fiscal year, which Michael Ann really loves, but it's an opportunity for us to patch streets, and it's the #1 product we use. I would tell you that the water department has agreed to sharing $15,000 in this. A lot of our repairs are related to, breaks in the water and sewer system. That's something that's gone back to Dan's time. It's something we haven't done a lot recently. In addition, I would share with you that the chip seal project that I came to request the $30,000 additional fund for potential overrun, did not materialize, so it's kind of spending the same dollar twice that I asked for, but it would be much needed, and it will carry us throughout the year. And I'd be glad to stand for any questions if you have any.
Thank you, Mr. Phillips. Any comments or questions for Mr. Phillips?
In your memo, you, the wording was tracking, you meant trucking, right?
Trucking, yes,
Okay.
sir.
All right. The GRT, is it calculated to higher?
No, because it should be billed before we hit the new rate. So if I can get it hauled and batched on Friday, we should still bill at the 8th.
Okay.
Thank you. Anything further from the commission? I definitely appreciate your looking into this and getting this deal now. I know it creates a little financial craziness in our departments, but it's money well spent for patching the streets.
I would move to approve the purchase of 350 tons of cold mix asphalt from Northern Mountain Construction utilizing state price agreement number 50-80-500-24-1711.
I'll second.
A motion and a second for item L for the purchase that we've been discussing on the cold mix. Any further discussion? All in favor, please vote by the sign of aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Madam Mayor, while I have the floor for a second, I'd like to give you an update, and it kind of relates to how much quantity 350 tons is. We began paving the Roundhouse Trail system, a 2-inch overlay of just the north side. We consumed 650 tons of asphalt today alone on that project. So 350 sounds like a lot of material, but it doesn't go quite as far. But on the really great news front, tomorrow by this time we should have Roundhouse Trails all overlaid, and so far it looks fantastic. With long days, Spear D came up, crack sealed last week. They're actually crack sealing in advance of what we're doing now, and couldn't be happier to knock another one off the list. And I think it's gonna be a great product for those people that are actually using the trail system daily. So.
Cool. Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much for that update.
Appreciate it.
One question.
Yes, ma'am.
Do we need more people walking on that? Because
Yes.
you mentioned that,
We do.
packing it down really helps.
Just not tomorrow while the trucks
Just
are
not
there,
tomorrow.
because they're going around it. but
Maybe next week.
Beginning Friday, yes, the more, and it shocks me how it's an early crowd. They're more 6 to 7 a.m., beat the sun, kind of walk around Roundhouse, and it's gonna be nice.
Bicycles would be fine too,
Yes.
right?
Except for goat heads.
Yeah.
And
And a lot of goat heads.
Just be aware that we need the dog count this time.
Right. Every paw counts in this game.
Jason, are you
Compact
gonna be leading a walk on there?
Yes, I'm at about 12,000 steps today, and Jason tries to average 2,000, so I will be glad the project's over. I've seen enough of the trails this week to last me a lifetime. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Phillips. We'll move on to item M, deliberate and act on contracts between the City of Raton and Envision IT Solutions to provide managed IT services, and I would assume we would take these together. We have the City of Raton, Raton Waterworks, and Raton Public Service, the Raton Police Department, and the Raton Fire and EMS each have a separate contract. Mr. Sagata.
Yeah, American Commission, before you are the contracts to renew the IT services with Envision. We've had a long-standing relationship with Envision, and they're prompt, efficient. You have a problem, they are pretty quick to respond. The total amounts come to just a little over $10,000 a month. The City of Raton, which includes Waterworks and RPS, I believe that's split out.
Mayor and Commission, I apologize. I know in years past I've provided you kind of a breakdown by department. If we look at it, the city has 25 workstations, water has 5, and RPS has 8. So we do break out under the city's contract amongst the 3 entities. Last year, our total estimated annual expenses for those 3 entities, the police and the fire, we pay about $133,902 a year. We didn't put the email in your packet, but Kevin Gray did give me a couple notes to share with you that the price per device for workstation support did go up $5 per device. So instead of $85 a device, it's $90. So that's the price that we pay for each device. The amount to monitor the servers still is at the $250. That did not go up. And then the cloud backup did not increase either. The device count for the fire department did go down by 1 unit, but other than that, everybody else remained the same.
Thank you, Ms. Antonucci.
So I apologize, I didn't calculate out what the difference would be between last year's cost and what we're proposing here, but it is going up $5 per device.
Thank you. I do have one question, if I may. So the city, the 25 units, are those all here at City Hall, or are we also servicing computers like at the Highlands Building or the Welcome Center or Aquatic Center?
So most of them are in City Hall. Initially, Jaden, Mac, and Georgia's positions originated in City Hall, so they were included under the contract. I do have a new computer at the Welcome Center that would be under the support contract. Currently, we don't have anything at the Aquatic Center, library, or sanitation.
Thank you. Is there a plan in the future to get all the computers, or is there like a prioritizing, or how does that?
I think it generally comes about when we purchase new computers. They get added to the support contract. So that number has kind of grown over the years. I think I had mentioned during the budgeting discussions, we do have currently 2019 computers that most of us are working with. So we're going to be looking to phase in replacement of those in fiscal year 27. So we do have a listing of the computers that would need to be replaced. So we would be looking at that. But yeah, we do have needs. I think that the 2019 computers, some of them could be repurposed. I know Leonard would like a newer computer at the convention center, so for what he needs, he could probably repurpose one of those older ones for a little while. So we try to be frugal when we can, but then that would mean that we would probably have another large purge of e-waste coming up. And so we would have to bring that to the commission for disposal and then properly dispose of those computers.
Thank you for that information. Comments or questions from the commission?
I'm a little fuzzy. So Envision services hardware, software, but Raton City purchases its own computers, or that's through Envision?
Oh, you're asking if the computers would be purchased through Envision?
Well, no, this contract, what, when I glanced through it, I couldn't figure out what they were providing. But
So they provide support for, as of last year's figures, 38 workstations. They do it's called the Dado Backup Services. So that's a cloud storage that we have, and then $250 for each server. So the city has 3 servers, PD has 1, and also fire has 1. So when we need tech support or if we're down, they can remote in generally unless there's a power outage. And then during a power outage, we usually get on the phone with them and we bring those servers back up online. But yeah, they've never left us down for any length of time, so they're extremely responsive, which we do appreciate. They do provide a certain amount of support with Encode, our accounting software, to a limited degree, but we also get tech support from Encode. I think with the new time clock implementation, they're really kind of holding our hand, working with Encode on the implementation of that.
And Mayor and Commission, they also provide security
Oh, the cybersecurity
Yes,
is
they
part
provide
of.
Cybersecurity, that's where a lot of your cost is.
And that's vital. That's why we started this a while back, and that's why I'm hoping we can expand this to every city-related computer at some point. I know it's very expensive, but.
And I will say, there's, a couple of us that have kind of gotten some of those spam emails that they look very real. And sometimes when you click on an attachment, we have a thing that'll pop up. It's called a threat locker. And I mean, within 10, 15 minutes, they're calling us saying, there's a Trojan horse attacking your computer or something. And they are able to, eliminate the threat like immediately. So we did have a situation where they said if we didn't have the cybersecurity that we have in place, another client, it cost them like $60,000. So I think it's been well worth it, even though it is expensive.
I think it's vital. That's what we have to do in today's world.
No, I just was curious as to
What we get.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a great question. Any further comments or questions from the commission?
Just say, Mayor, you're going to enjoy signing these contracts because you have to initial every page.
Thank you.
I noticed that.
Okay. If there's nothing further, I would entertain a motion to approve the resets of contracts.
I would move to approve contracts between the City of Raton and Envision IT Solutions to provide managed IT services for the listed departments.
A motion is second to approve the contracts with Envision IT. Any further discussion? All in favor, vote by the sign of aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item N, deliberate and act on vector control service agreement between Colfax County and the City of Raton. I'm excited to see this come forth because the mosquitoes are already on my porch. But I will say, I do know that if people do not want vector control spraying mosquitoes in your area, if you have a sensitivity, you can call the city and they'll communicate that to the county.
Yeah.
Mr. Scott.
Yeah, Mayor and Commission, before you is the Colfax County Vector Control Services Agreement. This agreement is for spraying mosquitoes within city limits and is proposed this year in the contract as a not-to-exceed cost of $5,000. The city would recommend approval.
Thank you, Mr. Scotta. Any comments or questions from the commission?
I have a comment, and that is at the county commissioners meeting this morning, it was indicated that the spraying would begin this week, perhaps out at the golf course area. So if somebody does want to opt out, the time to do it would be
right
now.
Yeah.
Thank you, Commissioner. And it does look like that's $5,000. Is that per month? It says for monthly pesticides. Correct?
Well, it does say monthly. I just didn't notice that.
I don't know, that was kind of a back and forth that Cy and I had last year because they wanted to charge us monthly, but historically it was a maximum.
Right.
It used to be $3,000.
Right.
So I did kind of argue that last year. We only paid $3,000 for the whole summer. I don't know if that was something they revisited and changed the language this year, but we would have to get clarification from them.
The only other comment I'd make, though, they need to correct the city manager's name.
Yes.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, thank you. We do need to update the purchaser on that. And I would say we're looking at a not to exceed $5,000 for the summer, is what we're looking at.
I would say.
What is the will of the commission?
I'll move to approve the vector control service agreement between Colfax County and the city of Raton with the following clarifications and or corrections. The city manager's name be corrected, as well as clarification that the not to exceed cost is $5,000 for the entire season.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Do I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the agreement with Colfax County for vector control services per the amendments. Any further discussion? All in favor, vote by the sign of aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item O, deliberate and act on resolution 2026-34, the approval of the May 2026 financial report. Mr. Scott?
Mayor and Commission, I would ask City Treasurer Michael Antonucci to present for you.
Mayor and Commission, in your packet, we present to you the May financial reports. I apologize we didn't put the general fund summary in there for you, but I'll do my best to summarize it for you. So for gross receipts, you'll see that the final gross receipts distribution that we received in June put us 6.97% above our budget projection. So that was roughly $258,998. I also have included your gas tax comparison report. We did get a good distribution this month. It was $22,631.95. So that puts us at 4.47% above the previous year. So our total collection for the year was $188,000, which was closer probably to the 23-24 amount. We do suspect that that would be a result of the new Maverick station, which these figures probably reflect about 6 months of that business opening. Cannabis excise tax, we did end the fiscal year with $54,589.62. Those funds will be transferred into the general fund. We currently track them in a separate special revenue fund for DFA purposes, but they will be transferred to the general fund now here at the end of the fiscal year. We talked about lodger's tax earlier. And I mentioned that the June distribution was over that $41,000 amount. Looking at the financial report, our ending cash balance in the general fund is $2,940,026. I did also put the one on larger paper in your packet. We do still have the $1 million invested in the CD, which will mature sometime in January. As far as the grants go, I'm currently working with all of the department heads to close out as many of the grants as possible, mainly EMS, LEPF, those would expire as of June 30. And then we are currently working on the Kearney School project, the $1.1 million allocation that was legislative capital outlay. I did submit a reimbursement request yesterday, and then I have one more left for a little over $5,000 that was for some film equipment. So I feel pretty confident that we'll be able to close that one out by June 30. I'll be working with Jaden on the HUD and the EDA reimbursement requests, at least for any expenses incurred through June 30. Airport, I'm still working with Moles and Corbin. We have a couple reimbursement requests to submit on those before the end of the fiscal year. And then the award that you made this evening, we should be receiving an FAA grant for those funds that would cover the engineering. Well, actually, the engineering design was covered under a different grant. So I think it'll be one FAA grant and then state aviation and a small percentage for the city match. So that should be forthcoming in the next few weeks. You know, as far as DOT projects, we have 3 or 4 actively going right now, so I'll be working with Jason to kind of true up the figures as of the end of the fiscal year. I suspect not so much with DOT because they disperse the funds to us, but I think the hardest part for me right now between now and Tuesday is gathering up final invoices and then calculating what those reimbursement requests will be and then potentially having to transfer funds from the general fund just to cover any outstanding reimbursements, and those would be temporary transfers that would need to be rebudgeted in the new fiscal year. So that's a lot of what I'll be doing over the next week or two. With the amount of grants that we have, it's a lot, and so there's just a lot of moving parts and pieces here. But hopefully we can get the fiscal year closed out. Once we close out the fiscal year, we'll finalize our ending cash balances, and then those will become the beginning cash balances for our FY27 budget. So by July 31st, at your last meeting in July, we'll be bringing to you the final budget fourth quarter report, and then we'll have one more final budget adjustment that'll kind of encompass everything that needs to be adjusted so that we can officially close out the fiscal year and prepare for the FY26 audit. I did want to point out one thing on this report. It would be on page 2 under the trust and agency fund. You will see that we ended up with a negative cash balance. This was something that I discussed with our financial advisory board last week. That was a result of a check that we issued to Raton Waterworks for their 3/4 cent GRT. The check got released to them before we made the deposit of the funds. So not enough funds are in the trust and agency to cover that. So it was the timing of our deposit and their check clearing the bank. So the bank did cover the funds on the last day of the month, and then our funds hit the following Monday, which was the beginning of the month. So just wanted to point that out to you, but that has been rectified. We also had a staff meeting and just kind of discussed with them kind of the importance of, you know, just every step of our process, and all of my staff kind of carry the responsibility for various steps. So we just have to make sure that we know our funds have been deposited before the check gets released to the water department. So I think everybody understands a little bit more how, you know, all the, like we talked about, all the moving parts and pieces. So kind of important to know what everybody's role is in the process and what happens when there's a breakdown in that process. So with that, I think overall in the general fund, I did do a manual check today to reclassify our JJAC coordinator's salary funded by the JJAC grant out of our executive into the grant itself. So I think as far as percentages, most of our departments were operating within budget. And then on the fire department side, we have quite a few funds that were reimbursed through the Wildland Fire Program. And so we're doing some reclassifications on salary, overtime, fuel, things of that nature that they just got reimbursed for. So I'll be making those adjustments now in the month of June. But other than that, I think on the revenue side, we're at 94%, which 11/12 of the budget is closer to 92%. So I think we're realizing our budgeted revenues, and we're on track to meet those revenue projections for the fiscal year. One other note, we did, I had a brief meeting this morning with a gentleman, the program where we can participate in the Medicaid reimbursement program. It's a federal program. We did provide them our cost reporting that was required, and so they've now compiled all of that together, and it looks like for FY27 we probably could realize another $200,000 through this reimbursement program. So it's looking promising. There's still several more levels to get the final approval and then bring an agreement to you to participate in that program.
Thank you.
for that program, would that be through our EMS? Is that what we're looking at, ambulance service?
Yes, it's
And then-
strictly ambulance. So the cost reporting is a little complicated because we have one department, fire and EMS, so the personnel, a lot of the operating expenses are kind of commingled between the two functions. Most of our staff are cross-trained to do both, which isn't unusual for most agencies, but to break some of that out was a little bit more difficult, so.
Is that something that the finance staff at City Hall would be implementing, processing that, or is that something that the fire department would own, or not? You don't know yet because we're still in the stages of figuring it out. The actual Medicaid, like processing the requests you have with Medicaid.
Well, it's really a federal program, and they're looking back at our calendar year 25 financials. So our reimbursement.
Is it like a lump sum off of 1 year?
Yeah, but we would get distributions in quarterly payments. So it's a little complicated. But when we bring the agreement to you for participation, we'll also bring you some other information that explains more how the program works.
Thank you. I was just a little confused. It's like everything somebody's having to process something, that'd be very time consuming for your staff. So.
But every year we do have to provide updated cost information to participate in the following year.
Quarterly. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Well, Mayor, Commission, it'd be like our case management program that we had for non-metro. We got Medicaid reimbursement, and it was on a quarterly basis. And it's very, very time consuming, and yeah, it's a lot of fun.
That's what I'm concerned about is who's doing it, because that's a lot more time with so many grants and things were up in the air. But it's well worth the money, maybe. I'd have to see.
Yeah, over time, I mean, $200,000 a year.
Yeah, it's a big.
Would, help us offset some of our salary expense and the raises. I think especially for next year, we'll be renegotiating the union contract for fire, public works, I think water also has a union negotiation, which doesn't affect us, but yeah, I think that we need to have some additional revenues that we can tap into, so I'm kind of excited about participating.
Is the fire recruitment fund sunsetted?
Yes, so fire recruitment and law enforcement recruitment, those programs will cease to exist as of June 30, and there's really nothing else coming forward to apply for. I think there might be some federal monies, obviously, that we might be able to look for, but I think maybe if a new governor comes into office, let's see what's on that. It probably goes through the legislature, so.
I think that's an
Yeah.
Hope so. Any further comments and questions for Mike Land regarding the financial reports for May?
Thank you.
Oh,
Very much
sure.
Yes, yes. My old eyes, it helped.
I'd entertain a motion on item O.
I would move to approve resolution 2026-34, approval of the May 2026 financial report.
I'll second.
Motion and a second to approve, adopt resolution 2026-34. Any further discussion? All in favor, vote by the sign of aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item P, deliberate and act on resolution 2026-35, fiscal year 26 budget adjustment number 12. Ms. Antonucci.
Mayor and Commission, I had hoped to have a little bit lengthier budget adjustment, but as I mentioned, we're still kind of working through a lot of these grants and trying to figure out what the transfers will need to be at the to close out the fiscal year. So, and I apologize, there is a typo on E-rate expenses, but I'll correct that for our file. Mainly, the Big Read grant is coming to, let's see, Yes, Big Read grant is only through June 30. So those activities are concluding. I think they have some sort of a event on June 27th. And then we will be submitting for final reimbursement on that grant, but certainly we won't be able to receive the funds before the end of the fiscal year. So we would be looking at a cash transfer out of the general fund to cover the balance of that grant pending reimbursement. So I would request that budget adjustment and then just a couple other line item adjustments.
Ms. Antonucci, is there any reason why we would need a special meeting before the end of the year to approve anything, or are we in the clear? Because I know we have a bit of a long delay between commission meetings, so I just wanted to ask.
I think your second meeting in July falls on the 28th of July.
So we're okay before.
I do have till July 31st to submit everything to DBase. I think I'll have plenty of time. But yeah, usually it takes me a good 3 weeks in July probably to get everything ready.
All the way to that.
So I don't anticipate needing a special meeting.
Thank you. Comments, questions from the commission on the budget adjustment? I would entertain a motion on item P.
I recommend approval of Resolution 2026-35, fiscal year 26 budget adjustment number 12.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 2026-35. Any further discussion? All in favor, vote by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item Q, City Manager Report, Mr. Scott.
Mayor and Commission, let's go through this as quickly as we can. Painting on the North Underpass is still going on. They are doing the last bit by hand, and that is the actual owner of the business that is doing that painting right now. So that is going on. Hopefully should be coming to an end this week.
It looks nice.
It does look very nice. It looks very nice. I attended the Land Bank Workshop in Albuquerque last Monday. You know, Raton is the driver behind this possible legislation, as we were one of 3 communities in the entire country picked to participate in this process. There were several cities and counties represented. The important thing, Albuquerque was very much involved in this and interested, so that is always a big driver to get legislation passed when you have the bigger cities involved. Then on Wednesday, I turned right around and went right back to Albuquerque. Attended the New Mexico Municipal League Policy Committee in Albuquerque. Commissioner Campbell and Jaden Welch were also there, where Jaden did an excellent job presenting the land bank resolution to the committee. The bank received staff support from New Mexico Municipal League, so we move on from there to the ranking and that. As Jason reported, crack ceiling at Roundhouse Park is completed. They started repaving today. Concrete pads have been formed and may start pouring those at the end of the week. That's for the equipment, the exercise equipment that goes alongside it, so that's coming along nicely. On the Railroad Street bridges, the North Bridge is complete and open to traffic. South Bridge, Jason's optimistic it may be finished this week, so we'll see how that goes. I was going to drive by there today, take a look. I didn't get a chance. On another note, one of our ambulances sustained damage in a hailstorm while transporting to Albuquerque on Friday. The windshield needs replacing. There's damage to the hood, the roof, fenders as well. The hailstones were about the size of eggs between Bernal and Pecos. Mr. Phillips just missed that storm himself. So we're getting estimates on that. Next week, I will be attending the City Managers Conference that's put on by the Municipal League in Ruidoso. I will be returning on Thursday. Mr. Phillips and I both will be out at the same time there, so Ms. Antonucci is going to be the big dog in the city for a while there. So she'll be in charge. But I will have my laptop. I'll have my phone. If anything comes up, I'm a phone call away. And 5 hours. Then we're starting to gear up for festivities for the 4th of July. We'd like to take this time to remind all citizens to please be safe and conscious of your neighbors and your surroundings and enjoy the holiday weekend. That's all I have, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Scotta. Anything further from the commission? Commissioner Holder? Commissioner Campbell? Commissioner Schuster?
Just want to encourage people to go to the Schuler tomorrow night and watch the movie. It's Night at the Museum, and it should be fun.
Thank you, Commissioner. Mayor Pro Tem Honeyfield? I'd just like to wish everyone a happy Independence Day, and as we start our 250-year celebration. So everyone be safe, and this meeting is adjourned.